Hello, everybody. It's Howard the Teaserking. I hope everybody's well and made some money. It was a pretty good week. Um, I got hurt on a couple of places by injuries, which we can talk about. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to get my light taken care of. So a little bit on an angle gets me a better light. All right. So the lock lost. It was Army and Tennessee Pro. Army, I checked the quarterback doesn't play. It's nice that you can't find it in injuries. So I'm betting on an Army team thinking this great running quarterback. And when you're doing an Army type of game, that's critical. And then and they don't score on a weak Ball State team. And then the Tennessee Titans look like a high school team against the Jets, which I was pretty surprised about. Not sure I get the play calling in that game. I was watching the highlights, and all I see is it's 3rd down and 5, and he's throwing the ball. And Tannehill is not a good quarterback. And I'm wondering, why aren't they using Henry? Why every time I saw Henry run, he'd run 5-6 yards. Nobody could tackle him. Here he ran, play calling I thought was extremely terrible. So that was my losers. Unfortunately, it happens, and that's why it's gambling. And so lessons learned is injuries happen, and you try to spot, I found this rivals.com injury list. So I will certainly use that more. The big teams, it's when the Armies or the Ekrans and, you don't know. The second thing, so this is review, analysis, lesson learned. So let's look at lesson learned. So in college, let's see what's going on there. Excuse me, mine takes a second. Anyway, overall, I did pretty good on my picks. I hit Virginia, Clemson under, lost the Army, Penn State, Wake Forest over, the Air Force, USC did come through. The Notre Dame game, I didn't play it, but I love Cincinnati. Oregon State got the W. Stanford over got the W. Alabama, SMU, Baylor lost by a half a point. Had I bet it later, I would have won because it went to 4.5. Arkansas, Georgia under, an easy winner. Florida, I lost. And Michigan, Wisconsin under. I lost with 38 seconds left. All of a sudden, Michigan is throwing the ball all over the place. I didn't play Liberty, which I loved as the dog to UAB. I hit Nebraska, and that's it. So really, I lost the Wisconsin under, and I lost the Army. Otherwise, it was a pretty good week. I think there was and Florida losing to Kentucky, which, again, that was lost because Kentucky's defense is very good, but they hadn't played anybody, so you really don't know. And then I stayed away from like UTSA, which I liked, but I didn't play them. And I didn't play Liberty. So it kind of washes out. So there's so many plays and you're trying to pick them. I didn't play USC, but I did tell one of my friends here to play. They asked that question. Air Force was an easy winner. Games I missed, Ohio State, I just didn't play. I don't know why. Nevada. I know one of my friends had Nevada. Oregon, Stanford. That was an overplay, but that was ridiculous. The roughing in these games is just horrible. And somebody needs to explain that going forward on 4th down is not an automatic thing. You should be punting the ball 99% of the time. All I see is most of these teams don't make the 4th down. So I'm wondering, why the hell, especially in the pros. I was watching the Lions game. They went for it on 4th down 3 times inside the red zone and didn't make any of them. And you're just scratching your head going, how idiot is this coach? I mean, one of the worst coaches I've ever seen. So one thing I wanted to talk about is why do we lose the games we lose? Well, because they changed the quarterback. So where did they change quarterbacks? Texas Tech went to Columbia instead of whoever they had out there. I've already erased it. So you got a new quarterback. Sanders comes in at Oklahoma State. The other guy gets injured. Gore comes in, or Lane comes in for Southern Miss. I don't know if that helped or not. Army gets their quarterback injured. New Mexico State changes to Johnson. I don't know how good he is. Hatcher is quarterback at Arkansas State. He played a little anyway. At Central Michigan went to Richardson. Miami of Ohio goes to Mayer. San Jose State switches to Nash. I think Starkle is injured. UNLV goes to this guy Friel, who's like a option quarterback. Temple switches to Mathis. All of a sudden, they're scoring points. South Florida goes to Timmy McClain, who's one of these run-pass quarterbacks, so he runs too. Connecticut goes to Krewski. Navy switched to Lavati, and they scored some points. The quarterback in the Army-Navy type of offense is key. You got to have a good quarterback because he's got to be able to spot the holes and run through it. And so you got to wait till Army's quarterback, who is the quarterback to bet on is Christian Anderson. When he's starting, you bet Army. Their backups suck, but he might not have played that much, and that's why they lost. They gave up a 100-yard kickoff return on their opening play, so that was like, really, Army? So they just didn't seem to be into it. They should be into it next if they play this week, although I don't think I saw them on the board. Let's see, Navy. And then Northwestern went to Helinski, who I saw was the new quarterback. So what I do is I go into the box scores and I look and I double check, like C.J. Stroud for Ohio State. Yep, he's still the quarterback. I'm looking A for replacements and B for injury. Michigan had McNamara, and then they changed to this other guy as their backup, who killed us with a 50-yard touchdown pass with 5 minutes left. Bo would be turning over in his grave that they're not just running the clock out. So, that cost me the under in the Wisconsin game, which was very disappointing that they scored. I think I got killed right before the half. Michigan kicks a field goal with 30 seconds left, and Wisconsin hits 2 long passes. All of a sudden, where's Michigan's great defense? So that we're preparing for the Ohio State route with that defense, and that was it. And then I knew I was in trouble with the over or with the under. So anyway, that's another thing we look for. Why do we lose when they switch quarterbacks? Mostly at these smaller schools, Temple, Connecticut, Navy. You have no idea they're switching quarterbacks. You don't know if it's an injury or they're just benching the guy because the other guy sucks. And then now you've got to watch them. And that's what happened to me. That was my South Florida story, was they suck. They get 10 points a game. Quentin Flowers comes in and all of a sudden they're lighting it up. And I'm like, what's going on? So I get burned once. That's it. I don't get burned twice. So I look into it. I'll be more careful now. Temple scored and Navy scored. So now I got to see what's going on. And it might have been just because they caught the new team by surprise. So it works once. Once the new teams have film on it, then they know how to defend it. So it works 1 week, maybe 2. I'm trying a new little wrinkle in my analysis. So when I do an A team and a Z team, I'm going to the next level. So Kansas is a Z team, right? They score 17, they give up 43. The next thing I'm looking at is how is their offense? Is their offense an under? Yes. Is the defense an over? Yes, which is a Z team. But for offense, I'm looking at total yards, not the score. The defense, I'm looking at the score. So an example is like Marshall. Marshall to me is an over team. They score 37 a game, and they put up 540 yards, but their defense is an under. Where's a better example? Like a team that doesn't score a lot. The point I'm trying to make is a team that doesn't score a lot but gets a lot of yards. I'm noticing that. I don't know. I got to find that. Anyway, there's a few teams. I don't know. But the idea is they'll put up like 470 yards, which makes their offense an over offense, but they don't score. It's not a lot, but it is out there. Or a team gets, so basically a team gets a lot of yards but can't make a lot of points. So what I'm doing is trying to unravel the spider web a little bit further to handicap. So in other words, okay, the team's an A or Z, but then I notice like Kentucky. All right, let's look at Kentucky as an example. So Kentucky scores 28, gives up 16. They don't do a lot. They get 400 yards a game. So I have them as an under. I would have had them as a B, but I'm saying no, they're an under team. They held Florida to 10. They really didn't. They scored on a blocked field goal, so it was really 13-10 type of game. Florida's got a good defense. So I'm ranking both their offense and their defense under, as opposed to, because Kentucky gets 28 points, they would be an over, but they only get 400 yards a game, which is really not a lot in college. There's teams getting Mississippi gets 550, Western Kentucky gets 5. So teams get 500 yards, mostly in the upper fours. So if you're only getting 3, like Vanderbilt gets 315, that's what I'm looking for. The Vanderbilt's my Z team, an under offense, an over defense, and they don't do a lot. So that's where I want to bet, an Alabama over Vandy, but you're laying 100 points. Maybe a Tennessee who gets 40 a game and gets 475. That would be a good over Vandy, and they do play each other, where Vandy's not going to score and Tennessee's going to really whip up on them. So you're looking for a team like that, or Missouri, even an LSU, where you're laying about 20, and that's what you're really looking for. So I'm taking that to the next step to see the rankings, because you're running into the Nebraska plays Lehigh 62-0, but then in the Big Ten, they're losing or playing close games. So you got to throw out the 62-0. So I'm trying to figure out ways to throw out the Lehigh games, as well as give them credit when they play Oklahoma tough, and they played who did they play? Michigan State tough. So I want to give quality wins, right? Penn State beat Auburn. They beat Wisconsin. Cincinnati just beat Notre Dame. Well, that should count more than just Cincinnati beating up on South Florida. So I'm trying to figure out ways to give them more credit when they beat really good teams. Just so you know, when you get that, okay, Cincinnati went on at Notre Dame and won as a road favorite. It gives you so many points. It's one thing to win as a home dog. It's another thing to win as a road dog. But when you start winning as a road favorite at a Notre Dame, at a Wisconsin, at Ohio State, then you're the man. Then you never bet against that team. And that's definitely what Cincinnati's become. Basically, they're Ohio State, very strong team. The key is the only key I would look at as Cincinnati is that they lose their quarterback. So if Riddler goes down, Desmond Riddler, they only get 412 yards a game on offense. He throws for 266, but they get 38 points for their 412 yards of offense. And other teams Miami of Florida, for example, or no, yeah, I guess Miami gets 30 points on 430 yards of offense. So you're trying to determine, does total yards equal total points? Does that make a team a strong dog, except for if they're playing Alabama or Georgia, things like that? So that's really what you're looking for. Clemson, what a defense, what a great under team. I had them under against BC. And that's where sometimes I get mad at myself. The lock should have been Georgia under, Clemson under, but it wasn't. It was Army, Tennessee. And that's when I scratched my head, not realizing Army wins easy if the quarterback plays. So I'm not really going to apologize for Army. But the question is, why didn't you lock the Clemson under, Georgia under? And then why didn't you lock the Kansas City, Seattle back against the wall? And that's where it gets a little bit frustrating, is I'm locking one team and then I love the others and I'm not locking them. And before a couple of years, when Carolina went to the Super Bowl, I had a streak of going 40-5 on my locks. And basically I was locking 4 or 5 games a week and winning all 5. So I went on an 8 or 9 week span of picking 5 locks, 4 locks, and winning all of them. Thus getting to 45-5 for the year. So 50 games. So it's probably close to 4 or 5 a week, and I'm hitting them all and easily. And that's what I was doing. So I'm being a little tentative, locking them. One of my friends bought, and he said, well, I only like to bet a few games. I said, well, bet the lock, and then just bet. I'll give you like a 15-unit play, which I might not lock. Bet that one. So I said, well, bet the Georgia, Wisconsin under. I actually gave him instead of the Clemson under by mistake. Not by mistake, but that's who I had teased. I won the Clemson under. I think I had that with Kansas City or something. But that's what you're looking to do. So you just got to be careful. And a lot of it was feel. I had a premise on Georgia under winning. I was watching the Arkansas game, and I think I told you on one of these videos last week that that Arkansas-Georgia game is going to be an under. And I had a premonition, and sure as shit, 37-0. I got a little worried, 21-0, but I had under 54, 55, 37-0 final. That's what the Michigan-Wisconsin should have been. It's about 37. And yeah, I know I'm bitching about that. But there you go. Georgia, I had the premonition. I just had that gut feeling. And because I've done this for so long and probably seen that so often that it just kind of triggers in me from something prior that's what happened. And that's where I got it from. So I knew Georgia, Arkansas was going to be low scoring. And it was, even though it was all Georgia, it's still the prudent bet there was under versus, I know I had questions, should I take Georgia? And I said, no, go under. It's a better bet because you never know what's going to happen. And I don't know. I didn't watch the highlights. I'm assuming there was a few turnovers or pick sixes because it was 21-0 pretty quickly. And I don't think Arkansas's defense isn't going to let that up. But that'll be a learning experience for Arkansas. And, you don't know. Now, SMU played South Florida. And what I picked up on was that watching South Florida BYU pretty much had them killed and kind of let them score late. SMU, I knew wouldn't do that because they score. And sure enough, they beat them like 41-17. So South Florida made a little run, and then SMU put up a few late touchdowns, and it was an easy win. So, again, you got to know the coach, the quarterback. This Mordecai on SMU is unbelievable. He's like 24 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That's what you're looking for productivity. You're not necessarily looking for yards as much as you're looking for productivity. So now here's what I'm talking about with points, right? SMU, 532 yards, 42 points. Pittsburgh, 554 yards, only 20 more, and they get 52 points. They got 10 more points. And then you get North Carolina with 500 yards and only 37 points. And then you got Virginia with 526 yards and only 34 points. So does the yards and the points equal? Now, you're probably going to score a lot, But if it's a pretty much of a passing team, which is like Wake Forest and pretty much Pitt, the defense is going to have problems because they're not going to be rested. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for over teams with the good offense and the bad defense. Like Wisconsin played Louisville. Now Louisville, scores 32 and gives up 28, and then Wake scores 38 and gives up 18. So it was a pretty good over. I knew Wake would score a lot because they get 38 a game, and Louisville gets in the 30s. So the over-under on that was a 61, so it was 55. So that was a pretty decent number of an over-under to go over with these two type teams. And it went 37-34, so it went 71. See, that's about it. Now, remember, I warned you about the Alabama-Mississippi game going under. I said, you got to look at the line. The line was 79. It was way too much. I knew Alabama would run the ball a little bit to keep Mississippi on the bench, and they just killed them, and it was really 42-14, but 42-21, 63. They didn't get near 79, and I knew that you can't play a team like Alabama who can run the ball. They're going to pound you, and that's what they did. Mississippi doesn't have the defense. And that's why you got to be careful on the over-under. The keys really pick your score, and then it's what is the line? Now, if the line was in the 60s, yeah, I probably would have played it, and I win at the end 63. But in the 79s, you got to get to 73. You got to be kidding me. I mean, that's going to be you need 50 points at least by Alabama and a good, in the 20s for Mississippi, and that's just hard to do, especially if Alabama's running the ball. They're not going to score as much. You score on turnovers, kick returns, sometimes long passes, but most teams are going to drive the ball down the field. Very seldom is it just 3-play drives, touchdown, 3-play drives, touchdown. It's just not going to happen too often. So you got to be careful with that. So those are pretty big lessons learned. Michigan going into Wisconsin. Now they go into Nebraska. And here's what I really don't like. People look at the line. Michigan's a 3-point favorite, and everybody's like, what's wrong with the line? It's the line. The line, that's what the betting is. There's a lot of Nebraska people, Michigan people think are going to be flat after going into Wisconsin, getting the upset. They're going to be a little flat. Nebraska's got a hell of a defense, and they're starting to finally get the offense rolling. And I kind of like Nebraska in my first blush. Now, I don't love the 3, and I haven't looked at the line yet today to see if it's going to stay or not. But I'm basically, liking first blush. I like Nebraska because their defense is so strong. But this Michigan, now it's what Michigan team shows up, and that's Harbaugh's problem. You don't just create this offense when you go to Wisconsin. So am I going to get these big wide receivers and this passing and this running and that? Wisconsin did give away a couple of critical interceptions, which I don't know that Nebraska will do. So I don't know how strong their defense is. Well, that's my phone. And then you have I just lost my train of thought. My phone's in the bedroom, so I'm not going to get it. Obviously, I'm with you. What I didn't understand in the Michigan game is going for 4th down. I don't understand this at all in football. Okay, I've watched it, as you know, since really probably the mid-'60s. 4th and 1, you punt it. Unless you're maybe at the opponent's 45 or 40. I'm seeing them go for it 4th and 4, 4th and 6. In the red zone, the Lions 4th and 4 at the 7. You're not getting that against the Bears. What are you kidding me? And they didn't get it every time they went for it. So I don't understand. You kick your field goal, you get your points, you punt them deep. Michigan goes for it at the midfield. Like, look, dudes, they have no offense. That should be a punt. You punt them inside the 5, and you play defense. You get the ball back at the 50, and you try it again. You don't go for it on 4th and give them up the momentum. So I don't understand what the hell is going on. And I'm seeing way too many go for it on fourth downs. Like, dudes, you couldn't do, you had 3 downs to get 10 yards and you're still 4 yards short. You're going to get it on fourth down when the defense knows that you're going for it. I can kind of understand if you run the fake punt where the guy goes under center and the defense jumps. Okay, I get that type of scenario. Or the fake punt when they don't rush, where the defense doesn't run, you do a fake punt, or the end man's not covered and the punter throws it to the guy. That I get. I don't get it's 4th and 4. We're going to run it up the middle, or we're going to throw this stupid sideways pass or pass behind the line of scrimmage, and we don't get it. Like, oh, well, no, it's 4th down. You didn't get it. You don't get it. You just lost field position and momentum. You don't just get that back. Oakland did that yesterday. Geez, I wonder why they lost 28-14. I mean, this is just pure insanity. What I'm watching. Let me check if there's questions, comments. Do I have viewers? Okay, 2 viewers. Ryan, what's up, kid? Oh, no, just we're going over what happened last week, mostly the new quarterbacks that surprised us. Teaserking, before you came on, I had to get my popcorn ready for this. Oh, thank you, Derek. Army's quarterback didn't play. If Army's quarterback plays, they win. He didn't play. That happens. It's just you'd like to know that up front. You wouldn't. I wouldn't have played Army. Whenever if Ohio State's quarterback's out, I'm not playing them, but I'll know that, right? That'll be news. I like Iowa, Penn State. Best game was Wisconsin. I'm taking Iowa eye test. Yeah, well, I normally in this type of game, I tease the dog. As I say, if I think the game's even, I tease the dog. Now, is the game even? I will lay in 3 and the over under 42. I would have from before the line, I would have thought it would be an under. I'm not sure. I think 42 is a little bit too low for an under. It's almost an over. They both will score. The prudent play is to tease the dog in this game. If you feel it's even, so you have to feel Penn State and Iowa. Now I have them both as A teams. So let's break this game down for you. So Penn State went to Wisconsin and got the W. So Penn State can travel. I'm not worried about that. Penn State scores 30, gives up 12. So they're definitely a game, which is pretty low for an over. And then Iowa. They're also an A. They get 33-11. So it's 33-11 versus 30-12. So that's pretty dead even. They only get 320 yards a game, Iowa. That's what scares me, right? It's and this is one of the scenarios where you really have an under offense, but they score 33 because their defense scores a lot for you. So the question, which we're going to have to look at, is the quarterbacks. Penn State, I don't see with much of a running attack. Iowa has a runner, Goodson. When I put the runner's name down, means he gets at least 100 yards a game. So that makes Iowa a little more balanced than Penn State, who's going to pass more. We saw what Iowa does to a pure passing team like Maryland. 5 interceptions later, they kill you. My file is so big that when I switch tabs, and I got this Google Notes, which I hate. Don't ever buy Google's Notes on a laptop. If you need a laptop, just stick with Windows. This is so slow, but I'm probably not doing something right on my notes on my spreadsheet. It keeps wanting to edit it every time I'm in, and it's such a massive spreadsheet that it takes a while to turn over. So what I want to look at is the quarterbacks. So I apologize. This is taking a bit. But, let's look at the Michigan-Nebraska as long as I'm stuck on this page. Michigan, 39 a game. They give up 12, 437 yards, mostly running, although all of a sudden they started passing. Nebraska, 32, and they give up 15. And they get 500 yards a game. They're very balanced, 260 and 240. And they got a running back step now. So I think this game's pretty freaking even. You forget Nebraska lost to Illinois. Since that time, they lost a real tight game to Michigan State. So that makes me look like Michigan State are pretty much equal. I really like Michigan State's dual balance with the quarterback. They got a good running back, good receivers. So it's pretty much similar to the Michigan offense. What I like is Martinez um, was able to throw the ball against Michigan State. He was able to move even with the spy on him. So that made me sorry, this is really slow. Oh, okay, it finally came on. Okay, so let's go to the Big Ten. So let's look at the quarterbacks. When I look at Clifford, oh, Christ. Sorry. Jesus Christ. Okay, so when I look at Clifford, okay, Clifford, 5 games, 67%, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 267 a game. It's very, very strong. He doesn't turn the ball over. Iowa, Spencer Petras, 5 games. He is 62%. So Clifford was 67. He only passes for 189 a game, 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. So neither of these guys are throwing the ball away. So I go back to my favorite thing. Give me the score. All right. So Penn State, Iowa, give me the score of the game. What do you think the score will be? A, can Penn State win? Absolutely. B, can Iowa win? They usually win at home in these type of games. So what do you have there? So you have a game where pick a score. I'm going to go with 20-17, maybe Iowa. You got a 3-point spread. If you looked at the game even, would you think Iowa would win? Not necessarily. Penn State can beat them. So there you got to go and say, well, this is why I like the dog. They both have good quarterbacks. They both have strong defenses. The Wisconsin win by Penn State is great on the road, but now they don't have a quarterback. So now you're like going, okay, was it that? Now offensively, Penn State was very impressive because you can see Wisconsin has a defense, but it does look like it's a weak pass defense. So you do give Penn State credit for that. You still give them credit for winning at Wisconsin. That gives them tremendous confidence. And then they beat Auburn, who was playing very well against high school teams. And now they killed Indiana. That was one of my plays last week. That was the revenge game. Again, wondering why the fuck I didn't lock that with Nebraska. So I played a Penn State-Nebraska teaser. Penn State laying 6 wins 24-0. Iowa or Nebraska laying 5. Because the way they've been playing against Michigan State, they looked really good. Their defense is getting better. They shut down Oklahoma, and I said, okay, their defense is going to hold them. And they finally playing a team they can beat. They're going to kill them because they've had a couple of losses. So that again, why didn't I lock that one? You just don't know. You don't know what you're thinking. So I'm trying to be more clear and take a little bit more time before I make my locks. This week and in the future. I know a lot when I see it, but you just take a little bit of time on the injuries. Normally I'm betting them quick because I want the line, like on the Army game, it moved from 6 to 10. So I don't understand. Everybody jumped on Army and the quarterback was out. Like, what are you doing? So either there's a lot of people selling my locks that it went from 6 to 10. Even, with the Army quarterback out, that line should never have moved from 6. It just shows you. Listen to you. I'm going to under the total in the Penn State game. Thank you. Yeah, probably the way to go. It is the only reason Iowa and Maryland went over was the interceptions. I don't think Penn State's going to give them the interceptions. They're going to run more. Iowa's going to run more. even if there is a turnover, it's not going to be easy for Iowa to score on Penn State. So, yeah, I'm saying just looking at the game, no line, 20-17, maybe 23-20. It should be low 30s, high mid 40 type of game. It is a low 42 is a very low under, so be careful on that. But I think the best way to play it, 48 is probably a good under, but Penn State 9, I think, gets the W. I think it's a very close game. You can't see, this is the type of game when you look at it and go, is Iowa going to win? You can't say that. You can say UCLA is going to beat Arizona because Arizona is a Z team and UCLA is an A, a strong offense. And the quarterback played last week, Robinson. So you can say UCLA is going to beat Arizona. The question is by how many. The line I see is only 16. So if the quarterback on UCLA plays, this is a joke to lay 10. They'll kill him. But again, you got to watch. Does Arizona have a new quarterback in, and is he starting to score? Or Nevada playing New Mexico State? You can say Nevada is going to kill them. Again, the 33, you try to justify, is that line too high? And that's why we bet teasers to get it down to 27, and getting it under 4 touchdowns is huge in this type of game. So there's certain games. Arkansas, Mississippi, you cannot tell me the winner of that game. That game, I don't know. They got Ole Miss 6 points favorite. I think I like Arkansas on 12 in that game. I don't love it, but Arkansas is going to run it down their throat like Alabama did. Arkansas has got some very good running backs, and they're a power run team. Mississippi ain't going to see the ball in that game. So that's a game where the dog, I think Arkansas getting 6 is way too. I think that's a 3-point line, and that's where it should be. So that's really what you're looking for. SMU Navy. SMU is going to kill them. That spread's only 14. That's a joke. Mordecai plays. I love SMU in that game. So that's where it comes into play. Can you pick the game without the points? And if you can't, that's when you want the under. Thomas, not knowing that quarterback, I remember wasn't playing. I know now why. Yeah, he hurt his shoulder. I saw in the injury report. But now you don't play Army till you see him in the box score. You just lay it out. Or if you go on Rivals, I found where he was injured. If it says now he's probable, then you can play him. I don't know how serious the shoulder injury was, but it is Army, and these guys tend to play anyway. Thomas, Tug Taylorview's brother did not look very good against Iowa. You were right about saying to wait and see how he does. He did not do well. Maryland got killed. Well, he threw 5 interceptions, and that's my point. So when everybody wants to draft him high because he's Tug Taylorview's brother, now you have basis to say he's going to suck in the pros, because when I look at Iowa's defense, imagine playing San Diego or Denver or Chicago or one of these strong defensive Baltimore. You think the guy's not even going to throw for 100 yards in those games, because look what he did against Iowa with 5 interceptions. Now, watch Penn State against Iowa. If Penn State's quarterback doesn't turn the ball over, which he might not, he doesn't turn it over a lot. He'll probably have one pick, and he goes for 280 yards, which I doubt against Iowa's defense. Let's say he goes for 2 1/4 and 1 interception, and it's close. It's 21-20 game. I'll like the Penn State quarterback more than the Maryland quarterback. When this is my problem with Tug Taylorview on Miami, he would light it up against New Mexico State, Arkansas State, Louisiana Lafayette, Texas State, not against Clemson, Ohio State, LSU. That's what I have against him. He got his stats and points against weak teams without any pro defense. When he played the pros, Clemson, Ohio State, LSU, Florida, Georgia, he didn't show up in those games, right? He would not. He'd throw for less than 50% and 100 yards. That's why I say what I say about him, where Joe Burrow threw for 400 yards and 80% against all those teams. Clemson, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Auburn. He lit them all up, okay? And that's why I'm all on Burrow, because he did it against pro talent, where against pro talent, Taylorview doesn't show up. His brother Let's see how he's going to play. He's going to play Penn State. He's going to play Michigan. He's going to play Michigan State. He's going to play Ohio State. Then we'll have a conversation how he does against those teams. And I would think he's not going to do well against Michigan or Penn State or Ohio State. Maybe against Michigan, because I don't know what their team changes every week. But right now, I'm not betting him to win any of those games. And then you'll get a true test against Temples and against North Texas State. You can't judge a quarterback and look at their stats and think of anything. So those looking back on last week. So now if I had to play Florida, Kentucky, I would take the dog because now I see Kentucky's for real. But before that, Kentucky didn't really beat anybody, so their low defense was based on not scoring. Now we've learned about Kentucky. We've also learned about Florida. Now, it's hard to say because they got their field goal blocked for a touchdown. Otherwise, they go up 13-10. We got the lead. We'll see what happens. Derek, I really believe Ole Miss buries Arkansas. What do you think? I believe Arkansas buries Ole Miss. Arkansas is going to run the ball down their throat, and Ole Miss, as you saw, and Arkansas's got a better running attack than Alabama. They're going to run it down Ole Miss's throat. Ole Miss isn't going to see the ball. So time of possession is going to be all Arkansas. So I'm going to ask you is why do you think Ole Miss is going to bury Arkansas when we've seen Arkansas beat Texas A&M, bury Texas? So if they ran on Texas and Texas A&M, and okay, Georgia's got an NFL defense. There's nothing. All 11 of those defensive players will go in the first 2 rounds at Georgia. You want defensive talent. You go right there. If I got the first pick in the draft and I don't need a quarterback, I'm taking the best player on Georgia's defense. If I need a quarterback, I'm probably going to go to either the kid on Fresno State or one of the other kids I saw. Who was I talking about last week? One of the guys are the Cincinnati quarterback. That's who I'm the SMU. That's who I'm drafting if I need a quarterback. But no, Arkansas. Ole Miss is favored by 6. You get Arkansas in 12, and the over/under on that game is 66. That to me is probably an under, and take Arkansas in the 12. The best way to beat a passing team, to play a 2-deep zone and run. If you can run the ball like Arkansas can, like Alabama just showed you, that's how you beat this team. They don't have a good defense, Ole Miss. Arkansas's got 2 very strong runners. No, a good running team. This is why Army plays or used to play a lot of under games till this year. It was if the quarterback plays, Army goes over. Had I known the quarterback was out, I probably would have played Army under last week. But if you got a good defense, you can run and play defense. You're going to play unders, and that's what I think. That's what Alabama did to them last week, and that's what Arkansas is going to do. They're not going to let Mississippi have the ball. So look for a very close. This should be a close game, and Arkansas again. Forget the point spread. Arkansas, Ole Miss. That game's toss up. Arkansas is you got to look at the Texas and Texas A&M games and go, fuck Arkansas, man. They buried Texas, and then they really shut down A&M. So you got to go. A&M's got a top defense, right? So they beat them 20-10. You can't look at see. Here's where people have problems. They look at the Arkansas-Georgia game, and Georgia beats them 37-0. I didn't look at the highlights, so I'm assuming Arkansas had a couple of turnovers or pick sixes or something, a fumble for a touchdown. And so you think, oh, Arkansas stinks. I'm betting against them this week. But you got to look at the whole picture. They beat Texas, and they beat Texas A&M. Georgia, ain't nobody scoring on Georgia. They'll shut out Florida, and when Alabama plays them, good luck, Alabama, because they're going to have all sorts of problems beating Georgia in the SEC championship game. And whoever gets them in the playoff, Ohio State is not beating them. Clemson, they don't even deserve to be in the playoff. Oregon, forget about it. I don't know who the fourth team will be. It ain't going to be Clemson. Maybe Cincinnati. Nobody's going to score on Georgia. No, their defense is unbelievable. So I mean, that's what you're seeing. So you got to respect that. So when Arkansas loses to Georgia 37-0, look at the full body of work. This is the problem. Everybody looks at last week's games. Oh, Michigan went to Wisconsin and won. They're going to go to Nebraska and win. No, it's a different game. It's like poker. I get pocket aces and the guy flops a set on me and I lose. That's that hand. And now I look and I got Jack 7 offsuit. Okay, that's not pocket. The hand moved on. It's a whole different hand. Michigan, Nebraska, it's not Michigan at Wisconsin. Nebraska's got a much better quarterback. The defense is pretty equal with Nebraska and Wisconsin. It's a whole different. Now you got an option quarterback who's been there 4 years, and he lit up Michigan State, which defense is just as good as Michigan's. This game could go down to the wire. I wouldn't think Michigan's going to kill Nebraska. So you got to look at that. So you got to look at Arkansas beating Texas and A&M, not just the Georgia game, and take all of it into consideration. Arkansas was never in the game. Yeah, well, it was Georgia. I agree. Georgia killed them, but they're not playing Georgia. They're playing Ole Miss. Ole Miss's defense. Okay, I got to go back to my spreadsheet from hell with this thing. Okay, so let's get back to my college tab from my quarterback tab. So I got 2 tabs. I got one with all the quarterbacks, and then I got one with all the teams. So I got to go back to the team one. So bear with me a second. Hopefully it won't take too long. Come on. Okay, here we go. I apologize. Normally I have Excel. This Google Notes is just so bad. I probably got to read like how to not edit the fucking thing every time you click on it. What are we talking? Georgia and Ole Miss. Okay, Ole Miss. Okay, Ole Miss is an over team. They score 44 a game, except for against Alabama. And Alabama gives up 18. Okay, Mississippi gives up 26 points a game. They do get 550 yards, 300 of it passing, and they do get 244 running. Now, that's overall. They didn't do that against Alabama, but they didn't have the ball against Alabama. Georgia scores 41 a game, gives up 4.6 points a game. All right, they give up 4. So I guess everybody looks pretty screwed up when they play Georgia. Now let's look at Arkansas. They scored 28 a game, but look at their defense. They give up 19. Alabama gives up 18. That's the type of defense they're playing. They have Jefferson, who's a dual quarterback. He can throw and he's a runner, and they got a runner, Smith. They only get 416 yards a game, but they get 224 running, which is what I said. They're mostly a run, although they can throw for 200. So what you have is Georgia eating up this mostly running offense, and they only scored 28, but their defense is a 19. They held Texas and A&M really low. Okay, Georgia 37, and again, I don't know how much of the 37 was a pick six, a fumble recovery, Arkansas going for it on 4th down at their own 30. So I got to watch the highlights. I know 21 points in the first quarter means you had a pick six, a fumbled punt, some turnover. After that, it was 16-0 for the final 3 quarters. So, granted, Arkansas didn't score, but here's Ole Miss. They give up 26 a game, and they played Alabama. So, have they played, I think they played Missouri. Have they played Auburn, LSU? I think they played LSU. Mississippi State, that's at the end, A&M. And LS. So, have they played the bulk of the teams? But they've given up 26 a game. That's the point. That's really where you're looking at and analyzing the game. Is Ole Miss doesn't have a defense, so they score a lot, but they don't have a defense. So that's what Arkansas. That's when Arkansas's got the ball, they're going to run it down their throats. So Ole Miss isn't going to see the ball. You got 60 minutes in a game, right? Arkansas is going to have the ball for 40 minutes, and they're going to score. There's no way Ole Miss is holding them down. So that's why I like that. Michigan did show you that they can throw. Yes, they did. Michigan's defense is not bad. I like Michigan. Okay. I'm not saying Michigan's bad. I just am saying it's a different kettle of fish, and Michigan got up for Wisconsin. Now they got to get up for Nebraska. So it could be a flatter game for them. Again, this is the first time they went on the road was last week. So, again, they're showing a good defense against Wisconsin's quarterback who stinks. Now they got to show it against Nebraska. And my point about Nebraska is Michigan State's got a pretty good defense, and they took them 20-20. They played well at East Lansing. That's my point about Nebraska. So, again, we're looking at it before. Arkansas is not Alabama defense. Ole Miss quarterback. So I think Ole Miss was. I understand. I'm not saying they won't win the game. I'm just saying that this is going to be a tight game. And Arkansas has a very, they've only given up 19. They've given up 19, and they played Texas and Texas A&M, not weak teams. That's all I'm saying. So you've got to look at something to analyze the team. So that's my point. You think Mississippi's going to win the game because you're still looking at them, Arkansas playing Georgia, not Arkansas playing Texas or A&M, and you think Ole Miss is just going to pass and that. And I'm saying where Ole Miss could win the game, but we're going to look at it now, not after the game's over. So when we look at it now, it's a pretty even game. Yes, Arkansas doesn't put up 40 points a game like Alabama does. I agree. I'm not saying Arkansas is as good as Alabama. What I'm saying is their defense is as good as Alabama's. They only give up 19. That's a damn good defense. And yes, Michigan did show me they can throw the ball in this game, but they didn't show me they could throw it against Rutgers. In the second half of the Rutgers game, with the 17-10 lead, they're going 3 and out, and they couldn't complete a pass. So I guess Rutgers' defense is a whole lot better than Wisconsin's until Ohio State ripped them apart for 50 points. So that's why I say that when I see Michigan-Rutgers and Michigan can't get a first down in the second half, that's why I made the comment. Yes, they showed me last week they can throw it. Which team shows up, the Rutgers team with no offense or the Wisconsin team where they throw it? And now I'm really beginning to wonder how good is Wisconsin. We'll get a better feel. They're like 10-point favorites this week against who are they favored against? Wisconsin. That's the problem. There's 50 games to find your one game. Wisconsin's 8.5 over Illinois. That should be a low-scoring game because Illinois is a great defense and no offense. So again, this is probably an under, but we'll see how good Wisconsin is against Illinois now. And I don't know if the quarterback got injured, if he's going to play or not. The backup, who knows? Again, a lot to know. And Illinois, they just don't have enough. They got a really good defense, but no offense. So let's see what Wisconsin does this week against. Then you get a better barometer. Okay, now they're not playing a Notre Dame, a Penn State, a Michigan. How good is Wisconsin? Obviously, they're not elite. They couldn't beat any of those. 2 of them coming at home, Penn State and Michigan. Now they go to Illinois. It wouldn't surprise me if they lost Illinois because of their defense, but we'll see. I just don't think Wisconsin, they don't have that typical run attack. And their quarterbacks, for some reason, they don't know how to recruit quarterbacks. I'm sorry. These quarterbacks suck. And, the kid goes to Notre Dame and he looks okay, but he still doesn't look like the Cincinnati quarterback. I'll tell you that. So again, that's the thing. You got Oklahoma, Texas this week. Oklahoma, I got laying 3.5, 63. Again, this is the last night's line. I haven't had a chance to look at today's. I don't know. I probably like Texas in the game, getting 9.5. Over under 63, probably an over there. Again, the score probably 30-27. I could see this game being tight. Oklahoma just doesn't look, they don't have that fast running quarterback, which was their little secret. You got Radler, who's not fast, and all of a sudden it's a different Oklahoma team. They're having trouble scoring. Kansas State 37-31 means their defense isn't good, so Texas should score because Kansas State still runs that kind of option quarterback offense, which they don't score a lot, but they lit up Oklahoma. Okay, Derek, what you think about Texas Oklahoma? There you go. I just said it. So probably a dog play, probably an overplay. Again, Oklahoma is not. They're not that strong offensively, and they're certainly not that strong defensively. What bothered Texas was Arkansas, right? Arkansas ran it down their throat, and they beat them pretty good by 20 points or so. That's why I don't understand why you discount Arkansas so much against Ole Miss, looking at the whole body of work, not just everybody looks bad against Georgia. So I would either take the dog, and if you don't like Texas, then I think over 57. I think Oklahoma can score, but Texas, I think, will score in this game too. So I do think that will, 57 is 30-27. Will they get into the 30s is really the question. I do see Maryland and Ohio State. I see Ohio State laying 20 to Maryland this week. And that's where you start and you just go, okay, let's see how good Tagliafua's brother is. Okay, he sucked against Iowa 5 picks. What is he going to do against a team with a bunch of pros on it? And we see Maryland with kind of a weak defense. This is where Ohio State's going to run the ball down their throat and score, and over under 68. Again, I think Ohio State runs them to death, and they get the interceptions on Maryland. And now you'll really see if the guy throws no interceptions and 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, I'll say he's definitely pro ready. He does another 3 or 4 interception game, throws for 150 yards against this Ohio State defense, which isn't really that elite like it normally is, then we'll see. So those are games to look at. Cincinnati's got Temple. I don't think Cincinnati will be flat after beating Notre Dame. Sometimes in the big games they get flat the next week, but Cincinnati's at home. Temple's weak, but they changed quarterbacks and they got a lot of points last week. But now Cincinnati has game tape on it, and their defense is unbelievable. So I'm not too worried about Temple, but that's about as much as I want to lay 28 down to 22 in that game. So let's look at a little bit of pros. So week 4 in the NFL. So, okay, Cincinnati we hit. Jacksonville made it the game. Cincinnati's field goal at the end. They didn't blitz Lawrence. Why aren't they freaking blitzing Lawrence? I mean, what's wrong with your mind? Just blitz him. You can't let him dictate. And then he started to do this little bullshit 10-yard run out of the pocket. He runs back and then he immediately runs. What is that? That's not NFL quarterbacking. So that's what you have. So Cincinnati gets the win, but it shouldn't have been that close. Again, they didn't blitz. If you don't blitz these rookie quarterbacks who don't know how to read it, that's what you get in trouble with. Detroit, Chicago. I took Detroit because of Fields, and I was right. Fields had 1 pass. The rest, he did nothing. Detroit, when they did blitz him, they sacked him, but they didn't blitz him early. Detroit had the ball 3 times inside the 10, 1 bad snap, and twice on 4th down. They didn't do shit. The coach doesn't understand what a field goal is, apparently. 1 field goal, and I'm a winner. If they don't do the bad snap, they got the ball at the 6, they're going to score even a field goal. Again, I'm a winner. I had 9 points. They lost by 10. So, again, I got out-coached, even though I called the game with Fields, who didn't really do a lot. The coach for Detroit just thinks 4th down's another down, and we're supposed to go for it and not kick field goals. He won't be alone. This is why you got 7 new coaches out of 32 in the NFL the last 4 years. You've had 7 new coaches. And this is why they all are very stupid. They don't understand field possession. They don't understand kicking a field goal. They think, oh, it's fourth down. It must be this analytic bullshit. Oh, it's fourth down. We're supposed to go for it. It's like we're supposed to go for 2-point conversions, even though the odds on getting it are like 5%. We'll go for it instead of kicking the extra point, and instead of punting the ball or kicking field goals, you got the ball at the 7-yard line against the Bears. Fourth and goal. You're not converting any of it. You're converting 0. Why are you going for it? Just pure stupidity. Cleveland, Minnesota. Can somebody explain that game? 14-7. I had it over 45, which was 24-21, and Minnesota scores 7 points in the game. Really, with that offense, Kirk Cousins. This is why I get on Kirk Cousins. And then Cleveland. What the fuck was going on in this game? 1 touchdown? Are you kidding me? That's just a Twilight Zone game. I don't get it. Both teams, good quarterbacks, and okay. Apparently, these teams have incredible defenses that they couldn't penetrate. So I'm just betting Minnesota under the rest of the year. Apparently, they don't know how to score, and they have a good defense. Indy, Miami, Carson Wentz plays. He looks pretty good. Miami thought they had a great defense. They don't have a great defense. Their defense is beginning to suck for some reason. I think Van Noy, I thought I saw him on New England again. So I think some of their pieces, the guys left because they ain't going to win with Tagliabue. I don't like their coach. Now, all of a sudden, what I thought was a real tight defensive team is not. So they don't have an offense. They don't have a defense. So Miami's not that good. Broncos prove that they're not ready if they lose their quarterback. Locke is big. Yeah, well, that's why they got Bridgewater. They're pretty good with Bridgewater. No, Locke's terrible. And again, this is where a lot of my strategy is. I'm betting against Fields. I'm betting against Lawrence. Tennessee, what the hell? Who is their coach? How many times did they have 3rd and 4th and short, and they didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry, and then they'd give the ball to Henry, and he gained 6 yards? I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Who's doing their play calling? Tennessee got so out-coached. I know they have a lot of injuries, but seriously, where was the pressure on Wilson? That's just incredibly bad coaching. The offensive coordinator needs to be fired if they're going to do that and then not blitz. Carolina, Dallas. I see Dallas. Now we see Carolina's real defense, and I made that comment last week. They hadn't played anybody. They had played the Jets, and they had played another crappy offensive team, Houston. So the Jets and Houston aren't going to get you points. They played Dallas. Dallas got 36. Now you know who Carolina is. Carolina got a late touchdown, so Dallas looks very good. New Orleans and the Giants. Winston's just terrible. Jones, where's the blitzing? Again, it was 21-all. They beat him in overtime. The Giants, I don't know. They're still not very good. New Orleans, you don't know what Winston you're getting. Cousins stinks. Yeah, he does. Absolutely. Miami needs a quarterback. Go get Watson. Well, yeah, they could get Watson, but I think if they get this kid from Fresno State or another one of these good quarterbacks, that kid from SMU, they'll be fine. But no, Taylor. That's what I said. If they played Arkansas State and Texas State in the pros, he'd be pretty good. But no, all he does is throw 5-yard passes. Shouldn't be starting. Terrible draft pick. Again, they don't know how to analyze quarterbacks, and it blows my mind. I should be a GM on all these teams because these GMs are fucking idiots. They just go by public sentiment. Well, we should take Tagliabue because he threw for 500 yards against New Mexico State. Yeah, against Clemson he had a hard time, and against LSU and all the big games he didn't complete 50% of his passes, but look at that spread offense where everybody score. I mean, it's just insane. What else? KC, Philly, KC. There you go. Backs against the wall, the art of war. Whenever the backs are against the wall, against a good team, Kansas City, I knew that should have been my lock. I was a little frustrated. I didn't lock it. There was no way laying one. It was a good spread. They were not going to beat Philadelphia. Philly got a late touchdown. It was really 42-23. There's no way you're stopping KC when they want to win. They're the best team. They're gonna, they played Baltimore well. They fumbled at the end, or they would have won that game. But when you got a team like KC who loses 2 in a row, you can bet your house they're not going to lose, especially after Dallas exposed Philly's defense. You knew KC was going to watch that film and go, here's what Dallas found. Buffalo killing Houston, 5 interceptions. Buffalo really didn't score 40. Anytime you see a 40, you're getting a lot of turnovers. So Mills absolutely stinks. Bet against Houston against a normal point spread. Hard to lay 17.5. As I said, if it was under 10, I would have played Buffalo. But they get 5 picks. So Mills is terrible. Arizona, LA, that was a surprise. LA owned them. They won the last 8. But Stafford, here's Stafford. He gets happy feet. This is why he couldn't beat a good team on the Lions. Now everybody thinks he's a different quarterback. Watch him when the pressure's on. He gets happy feet. His feet move around. He doesn't want to get hit. He's not a very good pressure quarterback against the good teams. I don't think Arizona's defense is all that strong. But LA's defense, they're not a good defensive team like you think. Well, they got Aaron Donald, and they got the cornerback. I can never remember the name. So they're an over team. Seattle, there you go. Backs against the wall, could not lose, and they're the best road dog. Anytime you get them as a road dog, you bet them, and they came through. Russell Wilson, my man, in a very tight, in a serious game where they need it. Bet on Seattle as the dog. Baltimore, Denver. Jackson, was he going to play or not? Hurt back. He plays. There's so many injuries on Baltimore, but they're mostly the linemen. The running backs, they brought in Latavius Murray to help. When the defense gets injuries, they bring in a new guy. You can do that with pretty good linemen and linebackers, and you replace them with pretty good linemen and linebackers. They got a pretty good eye for defense. It's not really hurting Baltimore. Again, with Bridgewater, maybe a different game, but he gets hurt. Pitt, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, superstar. Green Bay doesn't look, or Pitt doesn't look all that strong. Green Bay, that's about what I thought. Tampa Bay having trouble at New England in a rainstorm. Jones didn't look bad for New England. I'll give him that credit. Tampa Bay, Brady. Tampa Bay's just, we won the Super Bowl last year. They're just not into it yet. Really, you want to wait till they lose a few games, and then they get mad, and then you'll see Tampa. Right now, they're just coasting. And Oakland, San Diego, again, Gruden going for it on 4th down like it's scripted. What the fuck's he doing? San Diego looks really strong. Herbert doesn't need 5 years to be a good quarterback. These other ones do. Seattle and Rams, short week. What do you think? I like the dog. I mean, the spread I saw yesterday was the Rams. I saw 1.5, 54.5. So if you can get a 1.5, you can get Seattle in 7.5. I looked. They're not a home since 2016. Seattle as a home dog is 4-0. So they're not a home dog often. And we know them as a road dog are like 19-0 now. They're going back 3 or 4 years. They're an incredible road dog, which tells me as a dogs, you don't want to fuck with Seattle. I don't see why you would bet the Rams here, getting 4.5 against Stafford. Will he light up Seattle? If you're a little bit afraid of that, we know the Rams are an over team. Over under 54.5. I would say if you're scared to take Seattle, take the game over. Arizona just showed you how to beat them, and guess what? Russell Wilson runs not as good as Murray, but he moves around in the pocket. Seattle's got the receivers that are going to give the Rams trouble. The Rams with Stafford, if Seattle blitzes them enough, the Rams will score. This will be in the 30s, I think. 35-30, and I don't know who's going to win the game, but that's what I think will happen. Neither team can really run the ball. Like the Rams aren't going to pull a Minnesota and run the ball 45 times and slow the clock and everything. The Rams want to throw the ball. Just take Cooper Kupp away is basically all you got to do. That's all Stafford can seem to throw. And then Russell Wilson's got all the receivers he wants. and a good running attack. So, uh, you know, Russell Wilson as a home dog is going to be tough. Or you take the over 48.5. You need 49, 7 touchdowns. That would be my look at that. I like KC and Buffalo to shoot it out. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of points, 10 of points. Buffalo, what's the spread? 2.5. That line should be 3, but they're monkeying around with it. 56.5, so you go over 50. This should also be a 30-point game a piece, so it should be a 60-point game. Hard to take Buffalo in 8.5. Here's where Josh Allen, if they blitz him, is going to have trouble. But this is where you bet Mahomes, right? 2.5. You get 3.5, and KC's probably a pretty good bet against Buffalo. Buffalo doesn't really have that defense to really dominate. I do have Buffalo as an A team, but again, they played Miami. They played the Jets. I don't know if they played New England yet. So again, this is the problem. You got to look at the schedule and who, Buffalo beat the Rams and Arizona and they're under 20, then that's a different story. So a lot of it's who they play, but I would simply look at this game as almost KC in 3.5 or over, certainly. Indy, Baltimore, Jesus Christ, that's 7. Baltimore 7 down to 1. Looks like an easy game there. Right now I'm looking. I got to check injuries. What's with Cleveland, San Diego? Now, yesterday was an even. I haven't seen the spread yet today. All I want is the dog in that game. Somebody give me a dog. Why is the game even? San Diego should be a 3-point favorite. I don't get the even unless it was even because of Monday Night Football. Now San Diego's a 3-point favorite. That happens sometimes. My Z teams are the Jets in Atlanta, who play in London. I want to go see that game. The Jets in Atlanta and London. Oh my God. Jacksonville, obviously, a Z team, but Tennessee, until they get some of their injuries back, I don't know. I mean, you would think that they just give the ball to the big fella, 50 times a game. Let him. You're not stopping Henry. I mean, when you're inside the 20, the ball should go to Henry 4 times in a row. You'll have a touchdown. So I don't get trusting Tannehill, who's just not that good. Green Bay, Cincy looks like an interesting, probably an over there. Burrow with Chase, man, he's lighting it up. Rodgers is Rodgers. He's lighting it up. Neither team really has a strong defense, so this should be a shootout. And your over-under is only 49, where the Buffalo KC 56. Here, you're 7 points less with the same offenses. Burrow is a superstar, and he's got Chase now. And then Green Bay's not going to stop that. And Rodgers, he's good for 30 a game. You're not going to stop them. They couldn't stop fucking Jacksonville. So, I mean, that's a much better over at only 43 than this 50-point KC Buffalo game with you got better quarterbacks in this game. I love Mahomes, but I'll take Rodgers and Burrow over Mahomes and Allen. I don't like Allen. Too many can't read the blitzes. And if KC pulls out that playbook from the playoffs and blitzes them and they only get 9 points, that's what bothers me there. Houston's a Z team. The Bears with Fields, terrible team. Dallas and the Giants, I have to check that series. The problem with this is the Giants are like 18-1 as a freaking road dog. I don't know how or why. They're a strong road dog. I got to check the Dallas Giant history. Then I'll move on it. But at this point, I think Dallas. But now, because Giants are a good road dog means they'll stay within 13. It doesn't mean Dallas -1's not going to win. Arizona, Frisco, we got to check the health on. Frisco is Garoppolo playing or Lance? Lance is not ready. If Lance is the quarterback, then we definitely like Arizona. However, Arizona is a very weak home favorite. Again, when the trends come in, but you'll see if they are changing a little bit. Tampa, Miami looks easy. Tampa, yeah, but Tampa's playing in their sleep. But with Brissett, this game shouldn't be that close. But again, Tampa's got a lot of injuries to their secondary. And Tampa we just won the Super Bowl. They should have beat New England by more, but it was a rainy night. But and Brady his mind was probably on it. And Antonio Brown dropped 3 touchdown passes in the last 2 minutes of the game. So they're not all there yet. But Tampa at home, yeah, laying 4. I'd love it if it was 3 or under. But yeah, Tampa should beat them pretty easily. But they're not a great home favorite. But with Brady, they're okay. But, we're waiting for Tampa to lose so then they can get mad and then we can bet on them. But right now they're coasting and we've won the Super Bowl. We got our rings and they're off in Never Land. So be careful with Tampa. Like I said, with KC, be careful. But then they got pissed off. They lost 2 in a row and then they brought their game. So I think they're out to prove to Buffalo we're the better team, and they want to keep Buffalo down. So Buffalo has doubts about beating them because this is going to be your championship game. It's going to be KC Buffalo or San Diego KC Buffalo. One of those 3 will be in the championship game. So KC wants to make sure Buffalo, in their mind, can't beat them. San Diego, they beat Kansas City. So San Diego is probably the best team right now. See, maybe in the whole league because Tampa is just a lot of injuries. Arizona is playing really good ball. Seattle and the Rams are up there. Green Bay's up there. Now that you've had your 4 games of training camp, now you're getting the real team. So keep an eye on that. Again, I mean, you got to handle the rookie quarterbacks. Great show. Thank you, Derek. No, I try to teach. I went and bought gold and silver today. This is me. And I go, and this lady's standing next to me and seeing I'm buying it. And she says, "Can you educate me? Why are you buying it?" And I go, "Because all hell's about to break loose in the currency market, and you're going to want stock market's going to crash. It's October. You want to own gold and silver for safety." And so I spent an hour with her at a Coney Island, a little restaurant, sort of like the deli at Mirage, right? So it's a little, hot dogs, eggs, whatever, and taught her Austrian economics and gold and silver. So she ran back and bought some gold and silver when we were done. But, I'm doing this for you guys. Again, it's such a hard, thing to master because now what's difficult in the pros is all these coaching changes. So you want stability, right? You want Russell Wilson and Coach Pete. They've been together, 10 years. You know what you're getting there. You've lost that now. Look at Detroit. They get a new coach every 2 years. Now they get Goff. What the hell are you getting there? What are you getting with Chicago? Everybody's yelling for Fields. Fields ain't ready. This isn't the Big Ten. You got Urban Meyer and Lawrence at Jacksonville. They're not ready. Urban Meyer, again, they're not playing the MAC. He doesn't have Bowling Green coming up. He's got the NFL. Jacksonville's got Tennessee this week. Derrick Henry, good fucking luck trying to beat them. So, I mean, this you want consistency when you gamble. You want to know what you're going to get. And it's extremely difficult in college and pro to really understand. That's why I go to like Ohio State or Cincinnati. Ohio State's got their coach for a few years. Cincinnati against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's got a new quarterback. Cincinnati's the senior. So you want to find those teams where the coach and quarterback are pretty much, what you're getting. Wisconsin, new quarterback. He sucks. You don't know what you're getting. Michigan, there's always a new quarterback. You don't know so how do you play Nebraska? Well, I know Nebraska's coach is good and I know their quarterback. I know what I'm getting on a Nebraska. Michigan, I have no idea. right? They can't get a first down on Rutgers, and then Wisconsin, they throw the ball all around. You're like, well, why didn't you do that against Rutgers? So what team's going to show up? That's what's making it difficult. And then you got the little guys, the Sun Belt guys, and Arkansas State and UNLV, and they go and switch quarterbacks on you. So it gets you once. Then you realize, that's why you watch the box score. You realize the quarterback switch has been made. Now I've got to watch them. Now, are they the Z team I thought they were, or did they get better? And then is there an injury? So you've got to be careful. Starting quarterbacks, you've got to be careful on. That's probably the keyest. Or if you got a superstar, you got Barry Sanders, then if he's out, then it's a whole new different dynamic. But basically, the only injury you care about, I got a customer who asked about the injuries, and I told them, well, is the starting quarterback? It was, I think, what was the game? It was I don't remember. Anyway, and he's showing me all these injuries, and I don't know if it was Baltimore, and I said, is the quarterback out? And he said, no. I think it was Dallas. So Dallas has all these injuries. Should I still play him? And I locked Dallas against San Diego. I says, is Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott playing? And CD Lamb, and he said, yeah. I said, then but Dallas. We don't care about the linebackers and the linemen. Sometimes the secondary, because it's such a passing league like Tampa, and they bring in Richard Sherman now, who's going to need time to get into shape. You give them another week, but Tampa's got a lot of injuries to their secondary. So when these guys come back, now we start hammering Tampa. But right now, you can't really play them. So that's what you're really looking for, is the consistency. Brady now at Tampa. Now you're trying to get consistency. It's just all the new coaches. So at least Baltimore, you got Harbaugh, you got Lamar. You kind of know what you got now. Kansas City, you know what you got. Pittsburgh, you know what you got. Cincinnati, now the second year with the coach in Burrow. So now you're getting more comfortable. San Diego's got a new coach, but now you got Herbert. You're getting more comfortable. And that's what you need. I mean, before you'd have Parcells for 10 years, and you'd have Lawrence Taylor, and you'd have Bill Walsh, and you had the Washington Gibbs. I mean, you had Tom Landry and John Madden. You knew exactly, Chuck Noll, you knew what you were getting. Right now, I can't even name half the coaches in the NFL, and none of them are any good. Normally in college, what's happening is the offensive coordinators are leaving and going to a different team. Like the LSU offensive coordinator for Burrow is now the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers. And then they had Darnell. Now you're going, who the fuck is Carolina now? They got a new offensive coordinator, a new quarterback who sucks, and he's running. Darnell is now running the ball. What the hell is going on? And so the first few weeks, but then as the teams get game film and they see what the new coach is doing, the new coordinator, the new quarterback, and gets and zeroes in, because they're all pretty much doing the same thing, then the defenses know what to do. Then they're not as effective. So that's what you're waiting on. But we want consistency. College, good luck. This is why I bet the Army, the coach has been there. Now I see they got a great quarterback when he's not injured. This is why I love Cincinnati, Nevada, good coach, good quarterback. So if you got a good coach and a quarterback who's not a freshman and he's been there a while, like the Nevada quarterback, the Boise quarterback, but I think they have a new coach. Look at Marshall. They had a great quarterback. The new coach comes in and he screws it all up. So you got to be careful of that. So that's what you're looking for. Oklahoma, Rattler's not a new quarterback. He's a different. He doesn't run, which is Oklahoma's offense. Texas, new coach. So TCU's got their go. I love their coach. I think it's Goldsmith or something like that. Baylor, they've been there. Or Iowa State coach and quarterback have been there. Baylor seems to be going. So that's what you want. You go to that's the thing. Michigan, you have no idea. Even though Harbaugh's been there, it's a new quarterback every year. Ohio State's got a new quarterback. Clemson, their quarterback's terrible. Alabama, new quarterback, but you can see he's okay. Georgia, they're just going to kill you. I mean, don't bet against Georgia. Bet the under. Just keep it simple. Bet the under in the Clemson and Georgia games. Don't even think about it. Who's Clemson got this week? It's another other game. Clemson. Baylor, West Virginia should be a good game. I know I saw Clemson. Just a second while I think Clemson's playing. Maybe not. They're either playing a high school team or they're off. I don't see them. But anyway, they're an under team. Why? Because they got a great defense and their offense, their quarterback's terrible. That's what you got to be. So that's what you're looking for. Really right now, that's why I look at the stats and the points. I'm looking for a great defense. Then if they don't have a quarterback, it's an under. Clemson, just bet it under. They have a good quarterback, then they're like Georgia. Now they're an A team, and I'm gonna not fuck around. I'm gonna bet Georgia and not play. But in this situation, most of the like Georgia, Florida, I'm locking the under if it's more than 45. I don't know what it'll be, but if I can get 44 and go under 50, it's bet the house game. But when they play Alabama, I'm just taking Georgia to beat Alabama. I'm not betting the house on an under because Georgia might open it up more. And you got to give the coach credit. He knows they got this killer defense, so he's going to run and play to the defense. That's what I thought Michigan, Wisconsin was going to do. And not all this, let's throw the ball in the fourth quarter. It's let's play to our defense. Let's not go for it on fourth down at midfield, 4th and 4. Let's punt it inside the 5 and play defense because that's our strength. And that's what I don't understand. These coaches have lost their freaking minds going for these 4th downs, 4th and 5. Like they think 4th and 5s, we'll do that 90% of the time. No, you're not going to do it 10% of the time because the defense is looking for you for either a run up the middle or a quick sideline pass or a slant. That's what the defense is. They're not playing you deep. They're going to be playing close to the line of scrimmage. So you're not going to make them. They know what they're looking for. That's the problem trying to do these 4th downs. It's so stupid, especially like inside the 20. Kick the freaking field goal. Those count for points. And if you don't score at the 10, you're not going to win the game. That's why the Lions will have a new coach next year because he'll be there 2 years. He won't win a game because he's too stupid to win a game. And then, this coach who's never coached before will be the next coach. So right now you just bet against the coaches. I hate betting against Urban Meyer. He made me so much money at Ohio State, but he had a lot better talent at Ohio State than he's got at Clemson. So then he's got at Jacksonville. So anyway, any other questions or comments before I have my dinner at 6:20 and I am starving? I did an intermittent fast. I haven't eaten since 5 o'clock yesterday. So I'm cleaning my system out. Anyway, now's a good time to do my analysis for this week. I'll tell you, I don't like as many pros this week. Last week I liked a lot. This week I can't. I'm so confused by half these teams. I don't know what to do with it. College seems to be a better week there. A little bit easier plays, I think. Sometimes you just look at the plug, SMU Navy, you just go, SMU lane 14. I don't know, probably a lock. I don't know, but I got to look for injuries. But that's what you're looking for superficially. You look at it, you look at a line going, something's wrong with that line. My line, my line was SMU minus 28 over Navy because Navy stinks. Their line's 14. It's already a double teaser, and now I'm going to tease it down to 8 unless the line jump. See, that's when the line will probably end up 17. But that's such an easy that's the pick. SMU is going to light it up. All Navy can do is run the ball, which means when you're down 30 points, what are you going to do? Do your wishbone? I mean, good luck there. LSU, Kentucky should be an under. Memphis, Tulsa. See, there's a lot of those games that I'm just scratching my head going, don't know. I'm surprised Memphis is the dog there, I'll tell you that. Oklahoma, Texas, we talked. Michigan, Nebraska. Here's one. Central Michigan, Ohio. Central Michigan's a good high-scoring team. Ohio is a Z. Now, Ohio looked good beating Akron, who couldn't beat 11 guys in the poker room. So this line's way too low. CM Central Michigan, Ohio. Again, betting against the Z teams. And in the pros, I got to look. I'm just trying to figure it out. But again, LA, Seattle, because it's Thursday, probably go over 48.5 or somewhere in that neighborhood. LA's defense is Aaron Donald, but that's it. And teams are, for a good defense to give up 30-some points to Arizona is not a good defense. They gave up 24 to Tampa. No, they don't have an elite defense. Seattle will score and score often on them. Seattle doesn't have a great defense, so LA will score and score often. So the best play there is an over, but that's what you look for. Their defense isn't very good. That's why you don't want to get screwed by a strong defense. That's how the upset happens, right? The strong defense comes in, shuts down the offense. Iowa, Maryland, right? That's where you get the problem is the defense can shut the offense. That a good defense will shut, but a good offense can shred a weak defense. So that's what you're looking for. That's why you keep track of it. Anybody? Any comment? Anything? That's about it. My plays and play against teams. So looking at the stats, the last 3 years, the teams that are good in a teaser, which is like 80% and above, is Buffalo's the best, 87%. Last week they cover San Diego, Cleveland, the Giants of all teams, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Baltimore, and KC. We noticed most of them are playoff teams, but the Giants, the good teams in the league cover. The bad teams in the league don't. So here's the real bad teams: Detroit, Philly, Jacksonville, Houston, the Jets, Atlanta, the Giants, so they play close games. Cincinnati and Minnesota are on it, but I think they're getting off, although Minnesota just amazed me last week. But basically, you want to bet against Detroit, Philly, the Jacksonville, Houston, and the Jets. And San Diego is looking a little bit better, so you're better off maybe playing them. And they won as a home favorite, which they are very bad at. So San Diego is getting better, so keep an eye on them. Who do they got? They're against Cleveland. Again, San Diego should be a 3-point favorite. You take Cleveland in 9. If this spread ends at even, I'm taking San Diego in 6. Or if Cleveland goes 1, I'm taking San Diego in 7 at home. Over under 49, probably. I don't know. I mean, normally it would be an over game. But San Diego is an under team, but they scored, it was 28-14, so it was 42. Yeah, okay, I would say this is under 49, under 55, absolutely. Cleveland couldn't do anything against Minnesota. Now, they have a good defense, but San Diego's is better. So I definitely would say this is, if you can get San Diego as a home dog, jump all over it, or under 49, go under 55, absolutely. Strong play. Probably Dallas, but I got to check. Giants are a strong road dog. And Dallas is not a great home favorite, but it's starting to get better. And remember, I'm looking at the last 2 and 3 years trends, and Prescott was out. So this is what's making the trends difficult. I want to look at the trends, but I've got to throw out all the Tampa ones because Brady's now there. And I got to throw out, the Dallas, because Prescott was injured last year, but I can use him for 2 years ago. So if I look at 2019 and 2021, which only has a few, so you almost just look at the 2019 Prescott versus the 2020. And then just so Packers, okay, they've been together. Cincinnati, like I said, New England, new quarterback who didn't look too bad. New Orleans, new quarterback. You just go on and on. Minnesota's got a little continuity. Carolina is new. Philly, pretty new. Yeah, so it's very hard to get the continuity. Seattle, yes, they got Coach Pete and Russell Wilson. So basically, it's making it freaking difficult at this stage of the season. We need another 2-3 weeks. So we really like here, okay, LA plays Seattle. Now the winner of this game will get a better feel like, okay, LA is really good. Or Seattle, look at they beat the Rams. Now you question how good are the Rams. Was it just Stafford the first few weeks? And now he's the Lions Stafford that we all know, and we know he chokes. All right, I'm going to go eat, and I will do what's tomorrow, Wednesday. So probably I might do the college show. If not, Thursday, I'll do the pro show because we got the Thursday game. But I will be back. I enjoy this live, and I enjoy the interaction. So check with me on the time. So I'll try to do, I'm not sure if I'll do one tomorrow or Thursday. I'll try to do about 3 o'clock Pacific or 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Eastern time zone for the pro show. And then what I've been doing, and I don't know if you guys like it or not, is Saturday and Sunday, like an hour and a half before the games, I'm just looking at injuries and the line movements that have happened, just an FYI. If I see a tour like Army went to 10, I would not have locked Army lane 10, lane 6, and then 7. I got it in at 7. I would never have locked the 7, made it a lock down to 1. The 10 down to 4 does not make it a lock, although I would have certainly have played them. But again, that definitely makes the difference. The point spread is all the difference. So again, look at the game without the point spread. Pick what you think it'll be. Then look at the line. Like Ole Miss, Arkansas, look at the game. You seriously think Ole Miss is going to kill Arkansas? I just, again, Arkansas beat Texas and A&M. And yes, Georgia beat them. But you can't look. They're not playing Georgia this week. They're playing Ole Miss. So, again, look at the whole picture. Cincinnati went into Notre Dame and won. So now you know Cincinnati's for real. Wisconsin, I don't know if they're any good at all. We'll find out against Illinois how good Wisconsin is, but I wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what team it is. Now, probably being under because Illinois, we're lucky to score a touchdown in the game, but Illinois got an outstanding defense. So, again, you'll find out more this week, and then we're pretty much ready to go. We'll pretty much know all the teams, but again, you've had these quarterback changes, so I need another week to learn the new quarterback at Texas State. That's it. Anyway, have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please go to the site if you want to email me or just catch me tomorrow or Thursday with questions. Please feel free. But if you go to the site, www.teaserking.com, you'll see my email. You can email me there. And then I'll respond to that pretty quickly. One of my customers said, "Did you see anything this week?" And I really, I need to study more before I determine if I have a lock and how many and my strong plays. But I have some feelings like SMU is going to be a strong play and maybe Cincinnati over Temple. But again, I got to check injuries. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I'm here to help and make us all some money. So have a great night, and I'll talk to you either tomorrow or for sure Thursday. Thank you for watching.